We now move on to Imtiaz Dharker, poet, artist and documentary maker, who was born in Lahore in Pakistan but grew up in Glasgow and now lives in London, Wales and Mumbai. And her work is imbued with themes of home, freedom, journeys, geographical and cultural displacement, and communal conflict and gender politics. Our poet laureate, Carol Ann Duffy, has written of Imtiaz that if there were to be a world laureate, for me, the role could only be filled by Imtiaz Dharker. But I also wanted to share with you a tribute paid to her just earlier today by somebody much younger and less well known. I mentioned over lunch to my family that I was going to be seeing Imtiaz this evening, and the response from my 16-year-old daughter, who's studying Imtiaz's work for GCSE, was, "Oh my God, Mum, you're so lucky. Imtiaz Dharker is amazing."
There she is.
Thank you, Maggie. There could not be a better introduction. I grew up in Glasgow, and the whole time that I was growing up, I felt as if real life was happening somewhere else, in some other country, somewhere where I was not. So this poem is called In Wales, Wanting to be Italian. And I'd really like you to excuse my imaginary German. Is there a name for that thing you do when you're young? There must be a word for it in some language, probably German. Or if not, it is just asking to be made up. Something like Fremdlandisch Gehör und Lust. Or perhaps Ein Sumann das Land Gehör und Wunsch. What is it called, living in Glasgow, dying to be French, dying to shrug and pout and make yourself understood without saying a word? Have you ever felt like that? Being in Bombay, wanting to declare like Freddie Mercury that you are from somewhere like Zanzibar? What is that called? Being 16 in Wales, longing to be Italian, to be able to say aloud, without embarrassment, Bella, Bella. Lounge by a Vespa with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth and wear impossibly pointed shoes. This next one's called Theatrum Orbis Terrarum, the theatre of the world. I love all maps. The idea that someone has put a line, an accurate line on a terrain. And the maps I'm thinking of, the Atlas, is the collection of maps bound into a book, and copper printing plates were especially engraved for it. When the copper plate cracks. So this is how it is done. One hand inching round the coast to map its ins and outs, to mark the point where ink may kiss the river's mouth, or blade make up a terra incognita, an imagined south. This is where the needle turns, to seek a latitude, where acid bites the naked shore and strips the sea till it is nothing more than metallic light. The lived terrain comes face to face with its mirror image on the page, the world made up and made again from sheets of ore, slept in, loved in, tumbled, turned, until the copper buckles. You see it clearly in the print, the place where metal has been wounded, mended, where the hand attempts to heal the break line in the heart. And this next one is called Lapis Lazuli, for a stone that I love. If you thirst for blue beyond ultramarine, here is the blue that stains the artist's hand, lifted out of the most precious seam in the generous heart of Badakhshan, to place an azure light in the Pharaoh's eyes after he's gone, lap at the Virgin's cloak, seep into the masjid walls, a prize to protect the wearer, allow the hope that a simple oar could save the prey and shield the savaged heart from harm, that in a broken land it could find a way to wrap the child in sacred blue, a charm or talisman to still the approaching drone. If you could only mine the prayer inside the stone. In this next poem, although you'll hear words like terrorist, it isn't really about terrorism at all, but about taking a single image and giving it different interpretations. As Maggie said, I work with film, and I know that I can take the same set of shots and put on different words and make many different stories out of it. But that's what we see around us all the time. Different channels, different outlets, giving us different versions of the truth. The right word. Outside the door, lurking in the shadows, is a terrorist. Is that the wrong description? Outside that door, taking shelter in the shadows, is a freedom fighter. I haven't got this right. Outside, waiting in the shadows, is a hostile militant. Our words no more than waving, wavering flags. Outside your door, watchful in the shadows, is a guerrilla warrior. God help me. Outside, defying every shadow, stands a martyr. I saw his face. No words can help me now. Just outside the door, lost in shadows, is a child who looks like mine. One word for you. Outside my door, his hand too steady, his eyes too hard, is a boy who looks like your son too. I open the door. Come in, I say. Come in and eat with us. The child steps in and carefully at my door takes off his shoes. Sometimes out of the dreich Scottish day, my father would turn up with something in a brown paper bag that looked to me as if it was not just from another country, but from another planet. How to cut a pomegranate. Never, said my father, never cut a pomegranate through the heart. It will weep blood. Treat it delicately, with respect. Just slit the upper skin across 4 quarters. This is a magic fruit, so when you split it open, be prepared for the jewels of the world to tumble out, more precious than garnets, more lustrous than rubies, lit as if from inside. Each jewel contains a living seed. Separate one crystal, hold it up to catch the light. Inside is a whole universe. No common jewel can give you this. Afterwards, I tried to make necklaces of pomegranate seeds. The juice spurted out, bright crimson, and stained my fingers, then my mouth. I didn't mind. The juice tasted of gardens I'd never seen, voluptuous with myrtle, lemon, jasmine, and alive with parrots' wings. The pomegranate reminded me that somewhere I had another home. And the next poem I'll read you is a love song to my late husband, Simon Powell. Undone. That tongue of yours is silver when you speak, and silver when the speaking's done. Those eyes have a look that turns my quick to silver, and proves my body's not my own, but away on loan to your fingers, bold in their skillful wheeling and their dealing. Your mouth the alchemist, I am gold, blown through the eggshell of the ceiling into a clear Murano sky. All that goes with me is the scent of you, which could be the scent of me, for there is no I or you, flung as we are to glassy blue. See how well I'm undone with one touch of your silenced silver tongue. An image that keeps haunting me is the image of women holding pictures of people they love, people who are no longer there, holding them for people to see, disappeared. That look I recognize. The women's faces have been cut away by scalpels of light, pared so hard the person has disappeared. White forehead, white cheekbones, black holes where the eyes once were. They hold on to the photographs of husband, brother, son. The other disappeared. They have turned the faces outward for everyone to see, in case someone witnessed the nudge on the street, or saw them taken aside, or heard the knock on the door, in case there is information. If they are speaking at all, they are saying a name, but all speech is lost in the wailing of sirens. They hold up the faces of family men who have been devoured on the usual road home or swallowed whole by the exit door. And the photograph is a shield the women wear over the heart, all the brightness turned outward to where no one is looking really, no one is watching, towards a reason that may not be there really, a world that might as well have disappeared. Palimpsest. How to live again when all the finished words have been scraped off to leave the parchment clean. How to come back willing for new events to be scratched on old skin, to be reused in unforeseen languages, to be spread on a table under infrared, and inch by inch be studied, screened, stripped down to the subtext. Ultraviolet looks through the layers to the thing they mean, the last flake of ink embedded in a single thread. Something holding on to nothing, speech holding on to silence, one mark holding on to the abyss, as if all life depended on it. And the last poem I'll read you today is called Screensaver. Very often people knock technology and object when people hold their mobile phones or look at them. But to me, going on the underground, I often think people are really, what they're doing is carrying their whole world with them. They're carrying a whole hinterland of people they love and care about. Screensaver. I carry your face in a mobile shrine and take it out on the underground. Your digital eyes look into mine. I change at Farringdon, and I have changed. Touched by you, my skin is kozo tissue, my hair rose-perfumed ink, my eyelids are gold leaf. The woman on my right, reflected in the window opposite, takes on the stillness of an icon. The boy across the way lifts his cheek to be pure marble, sculpted in living light. Together, we travel on into the night, all of us grown precious, each one of us alive and rare. Thank you.